So, Pokemon Uranium is a fan-made game based on the Pokemon series by Nintendo. Now, why I'm talking about this is because I completed Pokemon Uranium a month ago. I had stopped playing it in between, but I started when it was released. I completed it a month ago. I've been listening to the soundtrack of late, and I thought I should make a video about this because, according to me, I'll go as far as to say it's the best fan-made game out there for Pokemon, right? Now, there are a lot of things to consider when you talk about, a fan-made game or any game in general, especially for turn-based RPG. A turn-based game like Pokemon, the combat system is really complex and it has a lot of number crunching. So I'm not going to go into that because it's very similar to the original Pokemon game itself. So what I'm going to do is basically talk about the gameplay, the story elements, the plot lines, etc., etc. So why do I think that it is the best out there? Well, I've played some other fan-made games. I've played Light Platinum. I've played Flora Sky. Both of these were hacked ROMs on the Game Boy Advance emulators. I have played Pokemon Zeta. I've almost completed it. I've played a little bit of Pokemon Insurgents. I've played Pokemon Reborn, I think it was. I've played Pokemon Brown. I've played most of the fan-made games. And as such, I've played all of the Pokemon games, or at least I haven't played the equivalent. Like if I've played Ruby, I haven't played Sapphire, but I've played Emerald. So I've played everything from Generation 1 to Generation 5, that is Black and White. Now, as far as Pokemon Uranium goes, there's a lot of things that I have sort of written down just to tell you about what it is and why I think it's the best out there. Now, first of all, we have to say this. It has its own set of around 190 Pokemon. Original. The original Pokemon from that being around 150. Now, obviously, there are some Pokemon from the original games by Nintendo, which, for example, there's Mankey, there's Primeape, there's Dunsparce. I don't like Dunsparce. There's Magikarp, Gyarados, etc. Right? There are Pokemon like that. Uh, But most of the Pokemon in this game are actually the original creations of the developers. So apparently this game was in development for like 9 years. It was released in August last year in 2016, and it started gaining a lot of attention with the trailers coming out, with the people started talking about it, people started sharing it, and Nintendo actually took down this game, or at least attempted to take down this game, because as they said, it was copyright reasons, which I'm totally fine with that. I agree with that. It is copyright infringement on the name, as well as the battle system, as well as the some of the characters. I mean, in this case, it would be Pokemon, and some of the artwork, etc. Right? But in spite of that, there's a subreddit for the game. The link to that will be in the description. It will be in the cards up here, there, right there, right there. So it'll be in the cards. I think there's an official website. I'll put the card and link in the description as well. But people kept this game alive, right? And the developers kept debugging the game, giving a little bit of content updates here and there. So it was kept alive in media sharing websites and file sharing websites. I think there's even a Google Drive link, which I'll try to find it. I'm not sure where it is. If I do find it, I'll put it in the description below. Now let's talk about it. Apart from the original Pokemon, right? It had its own 3 starters: fire, water, and grass. Yes, fire, water, and grass. I don't remember the name except for Raptorch and Achilles, and I think it was Metal Lynx is the grass one. I'm not sure about the others. But the thing is, they had their 2 stages of evolution and they had their mega evolution. So those were 3 original starters. They were really, really good, really, really well made. And obviously, it had all of the Pokemon types, including Fairy, which blew me away because I've never played Generation 6 games in which Fairy Pokemon did exist. So playing against Fairy types was actually pretty interesting. And they had their own original type, called Nuclear. Now, that was really, really innovative of them. Obviously, they can take some liberties in making it because they're not Nintendo and they don't target a specific age or they don't target a specific audience. In Nintendo's case, it being kids, and in Uranium's case, it being most people of my age, that is 20 to 25, right? And that's about most of the Pokemon, right? They had their original Pokemon, they had some Pokemon from the original series, they had their original type with all of the other updated types of Pokemon. Now, what impressed me most about this game was the plot, right? I'm not going to give out any spoilers, but the plot is very, very. Oh, shit, hit my mic. The plot is very, very intense. It's very, very, I'd say, mature when compared to other Nintendo games. Obviously, this is not Nintendo. As I said, the developers could take a few liberties because they don't target a specific audience or they don't target the children age group, right? So the plot follows a very mature theme. You can see a lot of I don't know, dark themes. I'll put that in quotes because some people won't find it that dark, but it is. It follows a little. It follows a darker theme than most of the Nintendo games. It follows a very mature sort of plot. The character development, even though the dialogues and all are mostly in text, but you can kind of feel what the character is feeling or what the character is talking about when you read those dialogues being coming in on the bottom of the screen. And that is one more thing that I really, really liked about this game. You can actually see the character's development throughout the game. I'll give an example. Our rival in the beginning is a very immature, hot-headed kid, right? But as the game progresses, he slowly starts to understand and uh, slowly starts to calm down and get more mature, make better decisions as such, and slowly starts to respect us as a rival, right? So that's just one of the examples. There's a lot more in this game. If you want to check it out, the links are in the description. I think the subreddit will have a download link. It's very, very cool. And I have to give a shout out to Electric Mudkip. He is his channel is called EM Dash. Again, a link in the description. I'll put it in the cards up here. You can check out. He made the soundtrack for the game, and the soundtrack is absolutely mind-blowing. Obviously, it's inspired by the original Nintendo soundtracks, but I have to say it's much better than any other soundtrack that I've heard. Right? The only thing that comes close is probably Cynthia's theme from Platinum, and in fact, Platinum is the only original game that I would sort of compare with Uranium because it does follow a similar sort of mature path, but then not as much as Uranium. So there it is, original Pokemon, all of the types, including their original nuclear type. The plot is really good, really well made, really well designed. The character development is amazing. The dialogues, they're very, very well written. The story itself is just absolutely amazing, and obviously the soundtrack, it just went straight to my heart. As a long-time Pokemon fan, the soundtrack was absolutely amazing to listen to. So yeah, is Pokemon Uranium the best out there? I'd say yes.